Namaste friends and welcome. I'm Arjun Bhaiya and I am so excited for you to join me today. We're about to do something really special. Forget dusty textbooks. We are going on an actual adventure, a journey through 5,000 years of India's incredible story.
So think of this less like a quiz and more like a time machine. We've got 10 questions lined up that are going to transport us from some of the world's most ancient cities all the way to the birth of modern India. So the only question is, are you ready to travel through time with me? Let's do this. Okay, here's how our time machine works. It's super simple. I'll ask a question, you'll see a little timer, and that's your cue to pause and really think about the answer. Then, whenever you're ready, just hit play and we'll dive into the amazing story behind it all. Remember, this is not a test. It's a journey of discovery. All right, first stop. Let's dial it way back, 5,000 years ago. I want you to picture a city, not just a village, a massive city with perfectly straight roads, public swimming pools, and even underground drainage. I mean, that's more advanced than some places today. So, which amazing civilization built these wonders? The timer's on screen, so go ahead, pause, and think. If you said the Indus Valley Civilization, you are absolutely right. These cities were masterpieces of urban planning, thriving thousands of years ago. But here's the really cool part, the fun fact. We know they had a written language, but we have no idea what it says. To this day, nobody has been able to crack their script. It's one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Okay, time to jump forward. The year is 322 BCE. The land is fractured, split into countless little kingdoms, all fighting each other. And then comes this one young man. He's barely 20 years old, and he decides he's going to unite it all. So who was this ambitious young ruler? The countdown's on. Go ahead and pause.
That young man was none other than Chandragupta Maurya. With his genius advisor Chanakya by his side, he created the massive Mauryan Empire. Just incredible. But you want to hear the craziest part of his story? After building one of the greatest empires in the world, he just walked away from it all. He gave up his throne to become a humble Jain monk. Can you even imagine that?
Our next stop is a real turning point, a moment that changed not just an empire, but maybe the world. It's about a battle. A victory so bloody, so horrible, that it filled the emperor who won with absolute remorse. He swore off war forever and chose a path of peace. Which battle was it that completely transformed Emperor Ashoka? Go on, pause and think. It was the Kalinga War. The sheer destruction changed Ashoka's heart. He embraced Buddhism and spent the rest of his life spreading a message of nonviolence, or Dhamma. And here's his incredible legacy, something you see every single day. The wheel in the center of India's flag, that is the Ashoka Chakra. It's his symbol, a constant reminder of choosing peace over power.
Let's just pause for a second here and look at our journey. This timeline gives you a sense of the massive scale of history we're talking about. Look at that huge gap between the Guptas and the Mughals. That 1,000-year period wasn't empty. It was filled with powerful regional kingdoms and the rise of the Delhi Sultanate. It's just an epic story.
Okay, next stop, the Gupta Empire. This is known as India's Golden Age, and for good reason. This was a time when India was, without a doubt, a global center for knowledge and innovation. So, my question to you is, can you name just one of its world-changing achievements? The timer is on, you know what to do. If you said any of these, you are spot on. And just think about how huge these are. The concept of zero, the number zero. Without that idea, computers, your phone, none of it would exist. Or how about the astronomer Aryabhata figuring out the Earth spins on its axis, a full 1,000 years before Copernicus? And that iron pillar, it's a marvel of engineering that scientists still can't fully explain. What a time to be alive.
Okay, we've seen brilliant cities and incredible science. Now let's turn to art, and to one of the greatest love stories ever told. I want you to picture it. A building so beautiful it's like a poem written in marble. Who built this masterpiece, and who was it for? Pause and think.
It was, of course, the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, and he built it for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal. It was a monument to their love, and it took 22 years and over 20,000 people to build. Now here's a little bonus fact for you. You've heard of the Kohinoor diamond, right? The one in the British crown jewels? Well, it was once right here, part of the Mughal treasury.
All right, let's bring our time machine into the modern era. We're talking about the struggle for freedom. The Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, was at the very center of this movement. But here's a little twist for you, something you might not know. One of its main organizers wasn't actually Indian. So who was he? The clock is ticking.
Believe it or not, the answer is A.O. Hume, a retired British civil servant. He genuinely believed that Indians needed and deserved a proper platform to voice their political views. He worked side by side with Indian leaders like the great Dadabhai Nauroji, and here's the fun fact. Nauroji himself would later go on to become the very first Indian ever to be elected to the British Parliament. How amazing is that?
Okay, fast forward to 1930. A single, simple act, walking hundreds of miles to the sea just to pick up a handful of natural salt, became a symbol of defiance so powerful it shook the entire British Empire to its core. What was this famous act of protest called? Pause and think. I bet you know this one.
That's right, it was the Dandi March, or the Salt March. Mahatma Gandhi led this brilliant act of nonviolent protest. He started with just 78 followers, but by the end, thousands had joined him. And its impact wasn't just felt in India. Here's the fun fact. The Dandi March directly inspired Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement in the United States. India's struggle for freedom was lighting a fire across the world.
The year is 1942. The freedom struggle is reaching its climax. Mahatma Gandhi stands before the nation and delivers a rallying cry that sets the country ablaze. Karenge ya marenge. So my question is, what do these powerful historic words mean? Pause and think carefully. Do or die. This was the powerful, uncompromising slogan of the Quit India movement. It was the final, all-out push for independence. The British responded by arresting Gandhi and the other leaders, but it was too late. The movement just grew stronger. And as a tribute, the very spot where he gave that speech is no longer called Gwalior Tank Maidan. Today, it's known as August Kranti Maidan, August Revolution Ground.
Okay, we are getting so close to independence, so I've got a slightly trickier two-part question for you now. We're looking for two key people who oversaw the transfer of power. Who was the very last British viceroy, and who was the first and only Indian to hold the title of Governor General? The countdown is on. Give this one some thought.
So the last British viceroy was Lord Mountbatten, but after independence, the first and only Indian Governor General was C. Rajagopalachari, widely known as Rajaji. And here's why that distinction is so important. His role officially ended on January 26, 1950. Why that date? Because that's the day India adopted its own constitution and became a true republic. And that is exactly why we celebrate Republic Day every year on January 26th.
We've arrived. It's our final destination. Picture it, the night of August 14th, 1947. The clock is about to strike midnight. A new nation is about to be born. A leader steps up to a microphone to give a voice to this unbelievable moment in history. So, for our final question, who delivered the iconic Tryst with Destiny speech?
It was Jawaharlal Nehru, India's very first prime minister. And his words, "At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom." I mean, those words still give you goosebumps, don't they? They perfectly captured the hope, the struggle, and the soul of a brand new nation.
And just like that, our journey through time comes to an end. So, how did you do? Let's see. If you got 9 or 10, you are a history Maharathi. 7 or 8, you're an expert time traveler. 5 or 6, a very good explorer. And if you got 4 or less, don't you worry. Your amazing journey of discovery is just getting started. Thank you so much for traveling with me. I'd love to know what was the one fact that surprised you the most. Drop it in the comments. And make sure you stay tuned for our next trip where we'll explore the wonders of Indian science. Until then, Jai Hind.